For quality control purposes, the previous iteration of this video has been taken down. Hopefully this one is a little more enjoyable. Let me know in the comments. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Crushing It. If you're enjoying the content, consider subscribing. It's free, and I would really appreciate your support. The Denver Broncos suffered a frustrating 23-16 loss to the Los Angeles Chargers on Sunday in a game where the score was 23-0 after 3. I certainly have my thoughts on this game, but let's take a look and see how things unfolded before I get into that. The first drive ended swiftly on a Bo Nix interception on a throw that saw him overshoot Marvin Mims over the middle, and that turned into a Chargers field goal for a 3-0 lead. The Chargers would make it 10 unanswered by way of a 38-yard touchdown pass from Herbert to Vidal. LA would drop another 10 in the second off of a 33-yard field goal off of Dicker, and a 4-yard touchdown run from J.K. Dobbins in which he stretched like a rubber band to get the ball over. That coming on the heels of a Javonte Williams fumble that pretty much ripped the Broncos' momentum out that they had in the first half. LA would make it 23 unanswered for their final points by way of another field goal in the second half before the Broncos came roaring back in the fourth, first on an 8-yard touchdown from Bo Nix to Troy Franklin. The next possession would see Nix find Cortland Sutton on what is just yet another crazy touchdown catch for number 14, and a short field goal would put the Broncos within 7 with just a minute and change left, but they couldn't get the ball back on the onside kick, thus ending the comeback chance, the comeback try, and the game. Now, let's get the stats recap out of the way first. Bo Nix salvaged an awful first 3 quarters of this game with a 19 for 33, 216-yard, 2-touchdown performance with a pick. His leading receiver was Devon Vele, who had 4 catches for 78 yards. Sutton and Franklin followed him up with 53 and 31 yards respectively, with a touchdown snag apiece. In terms of the rushing attack, Bo Nix led the way for the third time in 6 games with 6 carries for 61 yards. Javonte Williams trailed behind him with 6 carries for 23, while Estime rounded up the top 3 for the game with 13 yards on just 2 carries. Defensively, Brandon Jones led the team in tackles with 12 total and 11 solo. Zach Allen and Jonathan Cooper combined for a sack, while Benito and Stranad each notched one for themselves. As a team, the Broncos were outgained by 34 yards, 350 to 316. The Broncos were 2 for 2 in the red zone, yet only 3 and 11 on third down, while the Chargers went a staggering 11 for 18 offensively. The Broncos also lost the time of possession battle by nearly 15 minutes, only holding the ball for 22 minutes, 37 seconds to the Chargers' 37 minutes, 23 seconds. The defense could not get off of the field, and they racked up a lot of tackles because of that. For 3 quarters, the Broncos had 0 answer for the Chargers defense. The pass rush didn't have the impact that I thought it would for LA, though their coverage was locked down until the end of the game. This game in particular exposes a huge problem for Denver going forward, at least in my view. I think their lack of playmakers on offense is going to be a huge crux, but execution is also a problem. Running back room isn't exactly great, and part of that can be attributed to offensive line execution. However, they aren't exclusively to blame here either. Javonte is not a guy with excellent vision, relying too much on his ability to break tackles that I don't think he's fully regained yet. Besides that, he's had 2 critical fumbles this year, and the Chargers getting a touchdown off the one from this game served as the nail in the coffin the Broncos didn't even know they were in yet. The Broncos essentially gave away 10 free points, and that turned out to be the difference. Overall, however, I was pleased with the fight that they showed at the end of the game, and it's not like the Chargers were going prevent for the second half either. They had every right to throw in the towel, yet they fought back and made a game out of the whole thing. I'm still convinced that Sean Payton needs to extrapolate whatever it is he does in the second half, because Bo Nix looks like a completely different damn quarterback when he's allowed to play free. 6 weeks into the season, it feels that Sean Payton is holding Bo Nix back right now, and I'm not the only one that shares that sentiment. Credit this screenshot to Luke Patterson of Sports Illustrated. Doing good work over there, my friend. The Broncos offense will continue to see this youth movement play out, and Sean Payton said as much when he met the media. Check out this clip.
We got to see these guys. You know, we're a young team, and I want to see this runner as well. I want to see Estime, and we're going to see Bailey, and we're going to see Franklin, and we're going to see, you know, we're not waiting to redshirt these guys.
Now, I think that's a wonderful idea, even if the short-term results aren't there yet. Franklin is still a developing piece, while I think Vele has the chance to really evolve into a decent guy behind Sutton or maybe ahead. He looked like Nix's security blanket over the final bit of the Broncos' loss. In the absence of Josh Reynolds, the Broncos are really going to see which of these two guys, if not both of them, can step up, and I hope that at least one of them does. I certainly think that Audric Estime can be a huge piece as well, and having a guy that can break tackles and hopefully see holes better will ideally relieve the offensive line of some of its burden. Now, one last thing before I touch on the defense, I think that execution needs to improve across the board, like I mentioned. Bo isn't faultless, but he absolutely needs help. Quinn Miners wiped out a huge play near the end of the first half of the holding call, which is really a huge glaring issue. Bo Nix cannot carry the team by himself, and no matter who is out there, they have to execute. The offense has to execute better across the board, and that is the bottom line. It feels like that penalties have wiped out huge plays all season for the Broncos, and every time they get something going or they get a huge chunk play to a guy, it's just another shot in the foot. God, cue a kitchen gun clip here, editing me.
And it sparkles like new!
The Denver Broncos defense was sliced, diced, and worn down against the Chargers, and the first half was the worst they've looked all season. I truly believe that the loss of Pat Surtain during the first drive was a huge blow to their confidence and moxie, and that seemed to reverberate throughout the entire game. I hope that Pat is able to get right whether he plays against New Orleans or not on Thursday. Outside of him, the defense suffered from bad execution across the board. Same theme we've been throwing. Holes were open all day for Justin Herbert to throw, and the Broncos had trouble at times containing the run game. Despite how bad it looked, the Chargers weren't all that efficient, but they ran the ball a lot. 38 carries for 128 yards, which does go for 3.4 yards a pop. Like I said, not super efficient. Passing-wise, again, Herbert carved this defense up like a Thanksgiving turkey, and the lack of a pass rush today didn't really help there at all. Even if they matched their 3-sack output from last week, pressure was absent for a great deal of the game, leaving a gimpy-ankled Herbert to stand in the pocket and find his receivers at will. The middle of the field was open on crucial downs, and when the Broncos did get pressure, assignments broke down and Herbert was still able to find a guy. These are plays that you gotta clean up with your top guy there or not to hold anybody at bay. But despite my grievances, I'm still happy that they showed the same fight that the offense did. Once again, they could have easily rolled over and just taken it, but they allowed only 3 second-half points to try and give the team every single chance to win. I think that if McMillan doesn't have a crucial third down penalty on the Chargers' final real possession, that the Broncos have a way better shot to win this thing. In the end, though, they could not stop the bleeding until it was entirely too late, and the Broncos end up in the loss column. I think overall that this is still a very young team trying to find its legs, and I've been saying this all season long because it's true. There's some young and new guys, especially on the O-line, notably at center, and everything still has yet to click. Defensively, they have to keep their confidence up without their top-tier guy. It's the same story on that side of the ball, as it's just kind of a mishmash of younger guys that just need a rebound right now. I think Denver can beat the Saints. I do. I think Peyton is a better coach than Dennis Allen, and the Saints are on a 4-game skid at the moment. Their defense is bottom of the league, giving Bo Nix and co a chance to hopefully figure some things out, have a get-right game, all of the cliches. I'll say this once again, Broncos country, be patient with Bo Nix. I hope that the Broncos can use that fourth quarter to build some momentum going forward, and on a short week on the road, they're likely going to need it. However, those are just my thoughts. Tell me what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you all soon. Keep crushing it. Go Broncos. Love ya.